slow to anger, and that he's gracious. And he's not only gracious to the people of Nineveh, he continues to be gracious to this very pouty now prophet. And he says to him in verse 4, but the Lord replied, have you any right to be angry? He still is in that pouty phase. And then God says again to Jonah in verse 9, do you have a right to be angry about the vine? Because now he continues on his pity party. And the Lord said, you have been concerned about this vine, though you did not tend it and make it grow. It sprang up overnight and died overnight. But Nineveh has more than 120,000 people who cannot tell their right hand from their left, and many cattle as well. Should I not be concerned about that great city? And that's where the book ends. And I want to know what Nineveh did, what Jonah did after that. Like, did he decide, okay, all right, well then I'm going to go live there, or I'm going to go home, or I'm going to
go home and tell the story. Nobody's going to believe me.
Right. I'm going to write my book and, send it off and get.
One thing I like is the continual interaction of God and animals. Like I can see God in heaven when Jonah's like, throw me overboard. And now he's in the water and God's just like, really? So now he sends a fish to rescue Jonah. And then later on, the animals are even repenting. And then God relents and gives mercy to Nineveh and provides this nice vine so it's like, hey, Jonah, you've got it good, enjoy the shade. And then of course he sends a worm, another animal that God sends to eat up the vine. And then even the verse that you just quoted, really the last word of the book of Jonah is animals. And so I love this interaction with God working with animals in order to accomplish his purposes.
I love it too. And I mean, let us not forget that this whole book is all about miracles, and that really we saw a little revival with the sailors. We saw the hugest revival with the Ninevites, and
a personal revival in between with Jonah.
Exactly. And that also this particular book has a parallel or kind of a sub theme of Jonah being an archetype of Jesus, or kind of giving you an idea of what Jesus is going to endure later on. When Jonah was 3 days in the belly of the whale, it was parallel between Jesus with Jesus being in the grave, the tomb for 3 days.
What ends up happening to the Ninevites?
Well, about 100 years later, there's another prophet named Nahum. They have actually fallen back. They don't remember, they choose to not remember God, and they have gone back to their old ways. The entire book, the 3 chapters are full of judgment from God, who is like, okay, I have been slow in anger. I have given you my grace. I have given you, you've had revival. You've known of God, and now that you know God, you choose not to follow me. And so Nahum is a little bit different. He is not sent to Nineveh. It says that he probably stayed home and he delivered his message.
So Jonah shows the mercy of God, but Nahum also, lest we forget, shows that there is still a judgment.
Yes. And he pronounces the total destruction of Assyria, and Nineveh being the capital. Let us remember that God is right. He is good. He is righteous, and he does have judgment. And because of those good characteristics, he has to fulfill what he's going to do when the people don't change.
Well, he has to judge evil at some point, and which is actually good news for those who are victims. I think judgment has its place because evil has to be judged, because evil always has its victims.
I'm going to read a variety of places in chapter 1, in verse 3. The Lord is slow to anger and great in power. The Lord will not leave the guilty unpunished. His way is in the whirlwind and the storm, and clouds are the dust of his feet. And then down in 7, the Lord is good, a refuge in times of trouble. He cares for those who trust in him, but with an overwhelming flood, he will make an end of Nineveh. He will pursue his foes into darkness. And just a reminder that God doesn't lose his temper. This is not him losing his temper. Maybe he saved many other people from.
Well, I think of the defeat of Nazi Germany. That was a good thing, and that was an answer to a lot of prayers of a lot of righteous people.
Exactly. So today, if you're feeling completely in the belly of the whale, let's go back to Jonah, in the belly of the whale, in that darkness, in that time where you don't know where God is, cry out to him. He hears your voice. One last thing about Jonah is that he was quick to anger. It says that God was slow to anger, but he was quick to anger. And that can be so many of us. We can be quick to anger. So today, I just want to encourage you to really, if you notice that anger keeps propping up, that's your first response to anything, whether it be your family, whether it be work, whether it be on the road, whether it be something that you even hear from God. Take that anger and put it on the altar of God. Throw it off the boat. Give him the opportunity. Give God the opportunity to wash you clean and make you more like him. And more like him is slow to anger.